away, she yelled out her window, "This is America."
Hashtag horrible.
Shut up and get off your high.
Get over it, baby.
Hatred has no home here.
We're at a feverish pitch.
I am black and I got your back.
Shame on you. You made it about race.
We're always going for the jugular.
Mean and disrespectful.
Forgive the redneck.
You are so race baiting.
And that cultivates a certain kind of sensibility that can't be conducive to real conversation that's productive.
You have the audacity and the ignorance to yell at me that this is America?
The video was my expression of outrage.
It is Americans like us who make this country strong and who make this country exceptional.
Even if you emote, even if you vent, you want to give folks a chance to let you listen too.
So I sought out many of the more than 15,000 people who commented, in hopes of having a real conversation.
I think if they trust that you hear them and that you understand them, even if you all still don't agree, at least the conversation can continue and you can see what the points of convergence are.
You are fortunate you're in a position to highlight this hateful treatment. To many of us, this is nothing new. Caucasian Americans want too much explanation for why we are here and why we consider ourselves Americans.
You feel like they're requiring, demanding explanation?
Yeah. Like somehow I have to be a super patriot to qualify as an American.
I know my U.S. history. I can name every cabinet member. I can name every state capital. Can you?
Do you ever feel like saying, no one is more American than I am, considering I'm Native American?
But that would exclude you. I don't want to do that. I have 3 grandchildren I'm hoping won't go through an experience. Someone yelling at them, this is America.
I have this concern about the charge of racism. In 2000, 69% of Asian Americans were foreign-born, so it actually makes more sense for the driver to assume that a random Asian on the street is not from America. You could put it on a gravestone, 1776 to 2008.
The driver was clearly trying to make Nydia feel marginalized and othered. I responded to Jonathan Farley's comment because I'm just sick of people trying to justify acts of racism rather than just empathize with the person who's a victim of it.
A reasonable person could make the assumption that a random Asian they see in America is not from here, and not being from here is not necessarily a bad thing. I am actually quite proud that my parents came from the West Indies, and I was born and raised in America, but I never viewed myself as really being American.
If I'm not accepted as an American, then why would I invest and contribute and in some cases fight for my country?
In the case of Asian Americans, the model minority, I know that some Asians complain about that status. I would love for blacks to have that status.
A candidate for mayor labeled a terrorist.
Certainly Asian Americans have faced racism and continue to face racism today.
And vile flyers showing up in New Jersey aimed at 2 Americans of Chinese and Indian descent.
I haven't looked at that story, but yes, obviously I would agree that that's bad if people who are Americans are called invaders or something like that.
Does it change your view at all about your reaction to my video?
I'm extremely stubborn, so I would say no, because my initial comment was simply a factual comment. According to the 2000 census, 69% of Asians in America were foreign-born.
This is the fact. Just because you're foreign-born doesn't necessarily mean you're not American. Many Americans were born in another country.
White people think America is their country when they stole it.
White America can be. They're white. They're privileged.
You wrote in response to my video, explain how that was privileged behavior, and what if the person wasn't white? Do you retract your comment or not?
Wow, what a jerk I was.
I did not say you were a jerk. I just wanted to know what you meant by that comment.
I was just so defensive, and I know a lot of white people feel that way. They just feel that they have to defend something, and deep down, a lot of people, I think, are just afraid that they're going to lose something.
To us, to people who don't look like them, who are American.
Right, just that fear of what am I going to lose out of it? You know, is someone going to take my job? You know, am I going to be labeled a certain way? It all stemmed from, you know, things happening around me, the election.
You felt like white people were under attack, especially after the election?
Yes.
We need to continue to engage our own fear. So I do think one of the things we don't spend enough time on is understanding how and why people are motivated to do the stuff they do.
You were surprised when I reached out to you.
Yeah, and when I had to look in the mirror, I didn't like what I saw.
Wayne says he hadn't watched my entire video before commenting.
When I went back and watched the whole video, it was like, you know, eating crow at that time. I was like, there I go. I was just quick to defend and get mad and start ranting. I figured, you know what, why don't I hang out with someone of the opposite race?
He accepted an invitation to play in an all-black fantasy football league.
That was the best thing I could have ever done. You see a whole different side of things. Not every, you know, non-white person hates Donald Trump, and not every non-white person is, you know, a Democrat or Republican. Like, everyone is different. I had to forget everything I learned.
And the more we can see that there are more connections, even in our difference, the more we'll recognize that the key is to be as expansive and as inclusive as we can be.
I was one of those easily offended white people. As soon as I just started listening to other people, getting in their conversations, not debating, but just meeting common ground, is when I just started seeing a whole lot of things different.
To me, racism is actually a type of bullying. People use racism, bigotry, make themselves feel powerful. I'm not saying this is right, but the only way it will ever stop is if people separate and stay with their own kind.
Since I'm half black, half white, look Spanish, but have an Arabic name, which line should I get it?
When you read Mike's response, how does that make you feel?
Insulted and sad to know that people think that's the only solution, is to separate ourselves.
It wasn't meant to be exclusive. It was meant to just explain what I thought racism was.
Your dad's black and
yeah, my dad's black, mom's white. I grew up in mostly white neighborhoods. Who am I supposed to identify with? Where should I go? Which group do you want me to be with? Because one of those groups is going to say you don't belong here.
I was trying to say that racism exists because people come together, groups come together, they clash. Separate them, you have no problem. You know, if kids are fighting in the schoolyard, keep them apart, they're not going to fight.
Racism as a child, I learned at an early age. I was the only grandchild that didn't have their picture hanging on the wall. I'm worried for my daughter. That's my biggest fear. What is she stepping into? She's 19. She's just starting out her life. Some people think sheltering their kid is the way to go. I think you got to educate them.
Good parenting can help.
You have that hope.
Yeah, I think we all, it's part of being American, we hope things get better.
If we look at our own social networks, they're often so incredibly non-diverse. We don't have real substantive relationship with folks whose Thanksgiving tables look very different from ours. The lie is that there is a them, right? It's all we have is us.
This is America.
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 This is America.